This is Josiah Plays Torment, Tides of Numenera. So excited to be playing this. It's so good. So good. Okay, we are in the fifth eye. The fifth eye bar in Cliff's Edge, in Sega's Cliffs, in the Ninth World. And we are talking to these 5 super psychic warrior people or whatever. And the next one to talk to is Leto. Could be Leto, could be Leto, but I'm saying Leto. We will talk to her now. And good times will be had. Though this woman's face is young, she has been beaten hard by the sun. She wears a tight-fitting skin suit under loose desert robes. Wait a minute, is this a Dune reference? This is totally a Dune reference because Leto is a major character from the Dune books. And the whole skin suit thing with the desert and all that, this is definitely a Dune reference. She wears a tight-fitting skin suit under loose desert robes. Her eyes are a deep and unsettling black with no whites to be seen. Occasional streaks of light race across them, flashing in the shadows of her hood like stars plummeting from the sky. "I am Leto," he says. "I saw your coming. Now you are here." Now I'm here. How did you know I'd be coming here? Skeins of lives weave together in a tapestry. Your thread glows. It emerges from the sky, and a great darkness follows in your wake. She waves a hand as if pushing through cobwebs. I have seen you. Where do you go? That is beyond my powers. A being named O is here to give you a vision. It says you will be the mother of empires. She stares at you, her mouth opening slightly. Her eyes flicker across the bar, landing on no one in particular. I have not yet received the vision. And... a mother? Me? She shakes her head. I am barren. I will give no life. She pauses. Her hands are shaking. She whispers. I see only a stain when I look at myself. Nothing more. A miasma occludes my vision of myself. Don't catch yourself out too quick there, Leto. You know, good things are coming your way. I can feel it. What can you tell me about yourself? To the northeast, in the middle of the Lost Sea, there is a small town called Jerboa. Dwarfed by the magnificence of the oasis of Mara Jolios, Jerboa is a poor town, dependent on the charity of its neighbor. She nods to the bartender, and he refills her drink, floating a bottle through the air without touching it. Man, it would be handy to be telekinetic as a bartender. Handy? You get it? You get it? I was born in the slums. The Gibra, residents of the city, would sometimes tour our ghetto. One of them saw my eyes and declared me touched by their god, Nikul. They taught me the deep secrets of their church and showed me how to comprehend the tapestry in my mind. But one day I saw a light flare in Sega's cliffs. Though the city and mine suffer hostilities, I knew that I must brave those dangers, for I saw the darkening storm. She grips your sleeve. I see the futures. I will not be able to return home, but I arrived in time to aid Dama in his struggle against the adversaries. For a time I was able to read the strands to help our team prepare against the adversaries' attacks, but they learned to cloak themselves against me, and all I could see of their intent was a generalized darkness. I am of little use against the adversaries now, but I remain to help against other foes. Can you tell me about yourself again? I am a prescient, though certain matters are occluded to me. I come from the town of Jerboa, abutting the great oasis of Mrajolios, and I do not foresee a return to my home in my life. What can you tell me about the adversaries? She spits on the ground. You know what I was just about to say, then I noticed what the next sentence was? I'm not even making this up. As soon as I read that, I thought, oh my god, she's wasting water. You know, because she's from a desert culture. And then I looked, and the very next sentence says, I waste water speaking of them. I do not know what they are, but I know what they represent. They are the death of possibility, an existential threat to humanity. They sweep minds into themselves, consume individuality, and worship power. And they have learned to counter mine. I am helpless against them. Well, that sucks. They sound like dicks. Can you tell me about the adversaries again? I do not wish to speak of them. They are the enemies of consciousness. If I could stand against them again, I would show them images of lush and green worlds, possibility spaces that burst with freedom and peace. She shakes her head. Alas. What can you tell me about the people here? I know the stories of my comrades in arms, their past and their future. I have a deep bond with Ziobi, a friendship with the Boros. My respect for Dama knows no limit, and I have fond recollections of Feriak's ready wit. She shakes her head. I wish I could unravel the skein of perception and live in the present as do so many others. Oh, I think you'd be surprised how few people actually live in the present, Leto. But it is not to be, and so I scramble across the web of time and know the threads of my friends. Can you tell me any stories about your friends? Of whom did you want to speak? Tell me about Dama. He is the lodestone, the hourglass, the light that lifts and the rope that binds. His strength is our strength, and through him we become stronger. He is the caller, the bringer, the tactician, and the strategist. He brings us to this place, and in the future he is gone. She does not see you as she speaks. The unseen adversary claims him, unless... No, the probabilities are too low. She shakes her head, bringing herself back to the present. Is he still here? She slashes a glance toward a man in a blue shirt and breathes a sigh of relief. Of whom did you want to speak? Tell me about Feriak. A seer of pain and love, a great light, his powers, speech and attraction, an empath, a weaver of hope and reconciliation. The story I love most is this. An angry citizen comes, threatening violence, and Feriak eats his pain and makes a new man in his place. In those old strands, Feriak is my friend. And you mine, Leto! Of whom did you want to speak? Tell me about Ziobi. She gives herself too little credit. During the Cobalt Breach, she erects a shield around her company and fires precise bolts of telekinetic rage into the attackers. She destroys their inhuman captain, hurling him from the walls into dark space, and then dismembers the attackers who have come for me. Alright, so she's kind of a badass, in other words. In that day, she is my hero. She is the only one of us who can touch the physical world so completely. And when Dama dies, she stands to unite us. No, wait, this isn't real, not yet. She slaps herself lightly and mutters, walk in this world, Leto, this world alone. So this group is basically like the X-Men of Numenera. Of whom did you want to speak? Tell me about Boros. He follows the trail of the words of Kra. He finds the dead village. In his mind he seals the words, and they chew him to pieces until his brain has lost their knowledge altogether. He looks across the bar to the old man. No, that is a past possibility. That is not this reality. His mind is still intact. His stories still resonate. Is this the world in which he buries the last of the words of Kra? She shrugs. But he is the man who helps plan our battlefields. He shapes our expectations. It is he who brings the first adversary low. It shows him a story, and he tells it a better one. It bows to his vision before it knows his strength, and he traps it. He is a hero to this reality, though he knows it not. She shakes her head. I have spoken all the stories I will tell. Can you tell me more stories about your colleagues? She just said that she won't. She shakes her head. I have spoken all the stories I will tell. Can you tell me anything about the people I travel with? Ask and I will tell. Tell me about Alagern. She turns her unsettling gaze on the man. Your regrets will destroy you. You carry your pain and your salvation, but you do not look closely enough to recognize the truth. Open yourself, hold your scars tight, and you might emerge whole at the end of your ordeals. He growls. Typical soothsayer platitude. Tell me what I need to know or don't tell me anything. The future's light is not reducible to simple words. Not everything conforms to the science you treasure, priest. I have told you what you need to know. It is up to you to seize its truth, or let it fall to the ground unheeded. Tell me about Alagern again. I have spoken of him once already. Tell me about Matkina. Leto stares intently at Matkina, and as she opens her mouth to speak, Matkina holds up a single finger. No, I don't want to hear about my future. I'll wind up second-guessing myself, or pretending that prophecy made something possible, instead of living. I don't want any part of your fortune-telling. Her smallest knife is in her other hand. And if you say anything else, Seer, I'll ask you if you saw this coming. Dude, Matkina's such an edgelord. He pushes the knife slowly away from her face. I see your determination, assassin. I will not speak of your future. Tell me about Matkina again. I have already spoken of her. Tell me about Rin. She takes Rin's hands in hers. Child, the future is uncertain. The one you travel with is a decisive force in your life, though it remains to be seen whether this force is for good or for ill. I cannot advise you, for your future is in flux. You must make the choice yourself. So she didn't really tell her anything, in other words. Alright. Forget it, I want to ask other questions. As you wish. I'm looking for warriors to join Clarion in the endless battle. She thinks you'd be a valuable ally.
I'll remember that.
Dama is still here, is he not? I follow his lead. He believes one of our old foes is still present in the city, and if he believes it, I do as well. I will not abandon him should he need me. Will you reconsider your decision? I have told you, I will not leave until Dama has resolved that our old enemy is gone. That's all for now. Farewell. As you wish. Alright, so Leto was pretty interesting. Bariok. The Boros, Siobi, and Dama of the Bloom are the three that we have left to talk to over here. There's Feriak. Hello. Sir Arthur. Donna. Leobi. The Boros. Alright.
Of course.
Let's see what's up with this Boros chap. The man is old and strong, his face lined with years of brutal experience. His face is aquiline, his nose sharp. He wears a broad-brimmed hat, and his voice is a low rasp. "I'm Boros," he says. "Tell me your story. Make it a good one." Born falling from the sky. Awaken the constructs in the reef. Recruiting a gang of psychic war veterans to help turn the time of the endless battle. I'm happy with telling the truth here. I was born falling from the sky, and now I'm trying to repair a chamber that will stop a nightmare. That is a good story, you gotta admit it. He watches you intently as you speak, and when you finish, he nods sharply. "You're telling the truth," he says. "A lot of people embellish, or they lie outright. Try to pretend they're more than they are, so people will remember them as giants. More often than that, they just end up looking ridiculous." He pats you on the shoulder. "Given me a rare treat. Thanks. So, what do you want? Can't help you with your chamber, but maybe there's something else." "Can you tell me about yourself?" "I'm the brains of this operation." He gestures with a lazy hand around the table. "Without me, they'd lose the thread of their thoughts and spend all their time wandering in dreams." I don't know what kind of voice to do for Dama. I haven't come to him yet. "You're just trying to get away from your nagging." He tips his friend a wink. "It's that nagging that sharpens my word, Dama. Though I admit that my words are probably getting duller every second I spend talking to you." He turns back to you. Let's call me a warrior of language. Words are my weapons and my treasures. They might be pretty sounds to you, but to me, they're the tools that pry open your imagination and leave you vulnerable to my friends here. I build pictures, set the scenes, and create mazes in your mind." So he's like the architect from Inception. He's Inception guy. Takes a careful sip of his drink, and I'm going to take a careful sip of my water. "I'm also the last person in the world to know the lost words of Kra." He closes his eyes tightly, and when he opens them again, you see worms of light dancing in his eyes. They're gone again with his next blink. "They're a weaponized meme." A weaponized meme! Okay, now I've been around the internet long enough that I've seen several weaponized memes. A meme is a dangerous thing. So this guy learned his fighting arts from 4chan, apparently. "A thought that sticks in your head, a tune you can't get rid of, a saying that echoes in your mind until it drives you mad and melts your brain." Yeah, I know them feels. She lays a hand on his arm. "You don't have to talk about this, Boros." She turns to you. "It's eating away at him. He has it compartmentalized, but he says that he can feel it burning away at his mind. I feel the power in you. Can you help him?" Maybe. Can you tell me about yourself again?
Word warrior. Language my specialty. Constructing dreamscapes and impenetrable logic puzzles for the discerning villain of the story. That would be, of course, anyone who stands against our motley band of heroes. Because, after all, aren't we all heroes to ourselves?
He briefly tips his hat.
Admittedly, not everyone would see it that way.
What can you tell me about the words of Craw? His long face grows more somber, if that's possible.
Those words were the ruin of an ancient civilization. I had this story from a dying Nevigin before I wrested the last word from its mind. It goes like this. The scholarks of that age had found deep truths about the world. They stumbled across these words. They wrote the knowledge down and sealed the words away with the strongest warnings they could find. Then they killed themselves so that they wouldn't infect their kind.
Wait, so these words are so dangerous, they had to seal them away and kill themselves so that nobody else could hear the words or whatever.
Problem was, they didn't count on their writings sticking through the ages. Some schist-brained fool ignored the warnings on the bindings, read the words, and spilled them out into the civilization that had grown up in that spot over the millennia. 8 rulers of Qua, 8 words, and a continent-spanning empire fell, its people bleeding from their eyes with hatred in their hearts.
So basically they all got craw rolled. What I have a feeling is they played Darude Sandstorm and the whole civilization fell the fuck apart.
Survivors tried the scholar who'd released the words, buried him in stone. Words were lost again. A Nevigin, a hero, found the imprisoned scholar, tried to wipe away the knowledge he'd spoken and removed him from the world. Had the Nevigin stuck there, it would have seen the dust itself rewriting the words of Craw on the floor in the wind.
Oh no, the dust itself rewrote the words. He bows his head.
But it was too late. The words had infested his mind. I found the words. I burned them from the world, trapped them in a maze in my mind, and they're near the exit.
Sounds scary. Can you tell me about the words of Craw again?
Not much more than I already have. Even talking about a weaponized meme is dangerous. Brings it closer to the surface, you know. Like when you get a tune stuck in your head and can't stop humming it. Can't stop.
He snaps his mouth shut and rolls his eyes back into his head. Sweat beads on his brow. At last he releases his breath in an explosive gasp.
Almost got away from me there. Measures and countermeasures work. Rational thinking. But it's...
He rubs his eyes.
hard.
What can you tell me about this place?
Ask Dama, ask Leto, ask Ziobi or Feriak. I just drink here.
Can you tell me about the fifth eye again? That was really not helpful. He considers.
Don't think I told you anything the first time, so... no.
Nice. It's like the guy earlier. Are you an idiot? God, that was a great line. Can you tell me any stories about the others in this bar?
I can, but I won't. Talk to them yourself. They all have a piece of wisdom that they carry in themselves, and I won't dishonor them by telling their stories for them.
He scratches under the brim of his hat.
I can eulogize them, but every story would start like, here's a warrior, selfless and self-absorbed, knowing about themselves so they can help the world. But they're all more than that. See if you can get them from a different perspective than me.
This is a pretty darn interesting band of people here. What can you tell me about the adversaries? His eyes narrow and he leans in close.
Don't want to talk them up. It's important to understand that they are not unbeatable, that they are not immortal. They're tough, hells, yes, but they can be stopped.
He leans back.
That said, what are they? You've heard of spirits, beings of pure thought. That's what they are, except that they're more like living hate. Like every nightmare of fear that you can't escape. A vortex of despair, and that's why we fight, because they're poison.
I think this guy over here, the super creepy invisible dude over here, Malaise, is probably one of the adversaries. That's my feeling at this point. What are you going to do about the weaponized meme that's burning your mind?
Well, I could always kill myself. Honestly, I don't think anyone else could carry it, and the alternatives are too horrific to bear.
He tilts his glass toward them.
I love my colleagues here, but can they handle the words of Kra? I don't think so. Right now, I've got them locked into a mental construct no one has even the slightest idea how to build.
So I could try to talk this guy into killing himself. Dick move. Oh, I could offer to contain the words of Kra in my mind labyrinth. Or ask him to release the word. That's a terrible idea. Let's come back to this. I don't actually have a solution right now, but I do have more questions.
Figures. What do you want to know?
Okay, here's what I remember. This is very vague, and I don't remember it very well from when I played the beta so many months ago, but I think I remember there was a way, this came up somewhere else, this Words of Kra thing, in like a mirror. Now, there was a bunch of mirrors that were in that beta, but they switched a lot of stuff around. They changed things around, and the sequence that you played in that beta where you did the mirrors is now gone. That sequence isn't even in the game anymore, or it's been moved somewhere else because never even did that mirror in the real game now. But there was a mirror where you did it, and there was something about the Words of Kra in there, and you could find something out or do something in that mirror and then talk to him about it. But I don't know if that's been completely removed from the game or if there's any way to do it. The only thing I can think of is if I do that thing in my mind, the quest I have where I have the corrupted part of the labyrinth or whatever that I have to go into and deal with, maybe if I do that, then it'll open up the thing where I can do that mirror and then maybe learn about the Words of Kra and come back and do something different with him. So, I'm not going to talk to him about this Words of Kra thing until after I've done that, like, corrupted Fathom thing in my mind quest, and just to see if something happens. But I don't know if it will or not, because they changed, like I said, they changed everything with the labyrinth and the and all that from how it was in the beta. So Clarion needs strong allies to fight in the endless battle. Would you be willing to join her?
I'll remember that.
Not while Dama's convinced that one of the adversaries still lives, no. Besides, I've got other concerns. Maybe later.
Varian still needs your help in the endless battle. Okay, he said the same thing. Alright, so I think we're done talking to him for now. Farewell.
And to you, I suppose.
I updated this. Leto seems devoted to Dama. She won't abandon him until he's satisfied that the last adversary is gone. Yeah, I think this... Is he gone? Oh no, he's right there. I think this malaise is the last adversary, but I'm not actually sure. The Boros says that he won't join the endless battle while the last adversary is still a threat. He also hinted that he has some troubles of his own. Okay. Let's talk to Ziobi. This woman's face seems timeless, neither old nor young. Unblemished, but somehow not perfect. She's an Aes Sedai from Robert Jordan's books. Her dark and wavy hair floats like a cloud to her shoulders. When she speaks, her voice is musical, almost artificial. I'm Ziobi, and you are. She concentrates, fingers pressed to her temples. When her table mates start smiling, she pulls them away. I'm not actually a mind reader like these two, just a joker. So... You're not going to guess who I am? I don't know who you are, but I can tell you where you're from. Tell me, are you from the area? A small hamlet, slightly isolated, but still within the broader Sega's protectorate. Somewhere near Arvin Wood, perhaps. I don't actually know where I'm from. I was born in a falling star. What? How is it that you know the language here? You must be particularly observant. Your voice, your inflections, your mannerisms, they speak of someone whose upbringing was based on an older version of the Sega's Cliffs dialect. That suggests an isolated aldea or enclave of some sort. What's going on with this place? It's the Fifth Eye. It's where the psychics and psionics of Sega's Cliffs have been coming for generations to protect ourselves from the noise of the city. Life is easier when you're among friendly people, those of your own kind. She laughs. Though not everyone here is technically one of us. Some of the people you see here are manifestations of our minds. Some of them were called here by our minds. Some have come from other dimensions, even. She leans back, tapping a finger on her lips. I have a challenge for you. One of the 5 of us who own this bar is a projection. Talk to the other veterans of the psychic wars and see if you can figure out which of us is the projection. You can ask each of us only once, so make your questioning count. Oh, this is interesting. One of us is a projection. Alright, my guess so far is that it's Feriok because he doesn't touch the glasses. He doesn't touch anything. Even though he has hands. Can you tell me more about yourself? I am Ziobi. I hail from the western reaches of the Clock of Kala, near Mathiunas. She bows her head modestly. I have had the opportunity to serve with my fellows here in a number of disturbances. Though if you wish to hear more about those conflicts, you must speak with Dama. I am their support, their backup, and if need be, their physical offense. Oh yeah, she's the one that's a super badass with all the killing people with telekinetic rage and stuff. I'm looking for warriors to join the endless battle. Clarion would be honored to call you an ally.
I'll remember that.
I am true with war. Finished. I want nothing more to do with conflict. I have served my time. My colleagues might help you, but I refuse. Don't ask again. And it doesn't even give me the option to ask again. Are you the psychic projection? Me? No, no indeed. In fact, I am projecting him now. It's my power that makes the projection possible. If I were you, I'd focus on, physicality. Best of luck. Alright, that seems to confirm it to me. That seems to confirm it that it's Feriok. But we'll see. Farewell. The Boros? You're back, he says, as if this were an occasion for surprise. Ziobi says one of you veterans is a psychic projection. Is it you? Psychic projection. That's an interesting way to word it, Z. He tilts his head towards Ziobi. Wouldn't you say that we're all psychic projections in one way or another? He leans in. Put it this way. Are you always how I picture you? Does your behavior change based on my thoughts? Yes, depending on that image anyway, I might change my behavior to improve your opinion. No, your thoughts are your own, as are your opinions. They have nothing to do with me. I hadn't actually thought about it. Yes, depending on that image anyway, I might change my behavior to improve your opinion. So, you're influenced by my thoughts, but are my thoughts the whole of you? If they are, then you're my imagination. And the converse. I would say we're one consciousness subjectively experiencing itself. That means we're all each other's and our own psychic projections. Takes a slow, reflective breath. This actually sounds a whole lot like my de facto working beliefs about the metaphysics of the universe, because this part right here especially, all one consciousness subjectively experiencing itself, that is pretty much how I would define everyone. And that is the same thing to me as God, basically. God's not like some separate entity. To whatever extent there's a thing that is God, to me, that thing is total consciousness of all beings subjectively experiencing itself. It's pretty interesting. But we're also autonomous, eh? At least to some degree. You exist when I'm not paying attention to you. Pretty sure I've no need to imagine someone like you. We might as well say that we're all interconnected at a fundamental level, that our thoughts and actions have effects on each other. Might not be reality. That is the truth. But we each have a perception of a truth. It's a guiding star that we use to live our lives. It's not reality for everyone, but it's reality for us. It's our story. Yeah, this guy's philosophy has a lot in common with my own. This is pretty much how I would describe things. It's not reality for everyone, but it's reality for us. I like that. He rolls his eyes. I already forgot what kind of voice I did for Dama, or had in mind for him.
Oh no, Ziobi. The Boros is getting started again. Hush you, I'm lecturing.
He turns back to you. I don't know what that is, Anonymous. Welcome, Anonymous. How you doing? Good to see you. Draw is R9K. The hell is R9K? He turns back to you.
Even if we don't understand reality, we understand stories. So maybe our best gauge for how we experience each other is through the stories we know, the words we use when we tell those stories.
He laughs.
What I'm really telling you is that I'm not Ziobi's projection. Maybe learn some of our tales and you'll get to the truth. A truth, anyway.
Alright, farewell.
And to you, I suppose.
Here we go, then.
Suppose. Let's talk to, Leto again. I knew you would return. Ziobi says one of you is a psychic projection. Are you the projection, or are you real? Who can say what reality is? I see strands of possibility tying the future and the past together. Probabilities grow and decrease. Is a small probability a reality? In one universe it will be. In another, it has vanished into the web of might-have-beens, an opportunity for nostalgia or gratitude at avoiding it. I tell you that reality is more than our perception of time. It exists beyond us. What is in the past extends into the future. Touch the threads of the past and you can see their intended shape. Know what it is you seek and you will be able to discern your reality. So you're not going to answer the question, is what I'm getting.
Ha! What are you even saying, Leto?
A smile touches her lips. Only that one who would question reality must know how that reality should behave. That's another hint that it's him. Faces you more fully. I am not this projection you seek. That's all for now. That's all for now. Farewell.
Ready.
It's Fariok. I'm pretty sure it's got to be Fariok. But we'll see what he has to say for himself.
How can I serve you today?
Ziobi challenged me to find the person who's a psychic projection. Are you the one? He laughs.
Now, why would I come right out and tell you? If Ziobi's playing a game, why should I spoil her fun? Come on, puzzle it out. But let me offer a clue. Know your subjects. I guess that's the kind of thing an empath would say, eh?
The Boros said I should know about people's stories.
And what stories do you want to question? I was the group's spotter, an empath, until the adversary burned out that skill. That's basically all you need to know.
Leto said that you were an empath, not a telekinetic.
Did she now? He looks over at her and frowns.
She shrugs.
What if I developed telekinesis after the adversary stole my empathic ability?
Yeah, it's totally him. Ziobi said I should focus on physicality.
She did? How's this then?
He concentrates momentarily and bottles and glasses circulate in a convoluted pattern around his head, but he's still not touching them. They settle back into place after a moment.
How's that for physicality?
Let me ask a few other questions. Actually, I lied. Farewell.
Come back soon.
No,
Right.
it's him. It's him. Siobi. She nods and says nothing. I know who the psychic projection is. She laughs and crosses her arms. Who? I think it's Feriok. Gain some XP. She laughs delightedly. I won't even ask how you figured that out. If you guessed, it was a lucky guess, but your instincts were right. But then her face falls. I began manifesting him after he was killed. He was our spotter, the man who saw the adversaries and lured them to our battleground. But the last adversary we fought, it was ready for us. It caught hold of the lure he offered, and it followed his mind all the way to reality. It burned. She pauses, chokes back a sob. It burned him from the inside. She looks into the distance. He lured it to us, and with his dying will, nailed it into place. Anonymous says, I don't think use of the notion of consciousness is justified when applied to a population, less alone everyone. Why not?
It was a sacrifice any of us would have made, Siobi, no matter who was in that position.
He speaks softly as if trying to convince himself. She continues. The adversary didn't pay attention to us, even as we poured our heaviest attacks into it. It was too absorbed in destroying Feriak, tearing him apart instead of defending itself. As if its first priority was in blinding us instead of preserving itself. The voice turns hard. We beat that, though. So as long as I'm breathing, I'll keep his memory alive. He'll serve his drinks and make his bad jokes, and everyone here will feel welcome. It's the least I can do in his name. Farewell. Weaponized memes. You don't know what real weaponized memes are? Well, I've seen some pretty terrible memes on the internets. Dama of the Bloom. Time to talk to the man himself.
Here I go.
The boss man. The wispy mustache on this pudgy middle-aged man would be almost comical if it weren't for his deep and despairing eyes. They are the eyes of a man who has passed through the gates of alien hells and returned, though not necessarily whole. His fingers, tightly wrapped around some fine glassware, are strong and slim. A musician's fingers, or a strangler's. Before you open your mouth to speak, he says, "What is that place in your head?" It's a labyrinth. A labyrinth! He raises an eyebrow and leans back in his seat. That's a novel construction. He starts ticking items off on his fingers. I've seen people construct psychic fortresses, cathedrals, graveyards, hellscapes, and vortices from which no life escapes. All dramatic places, all powerful and forbidding. But a labyrinth? Well, that's a whole different construction. That speaks to cunning and guile. Cunning and guile's what I'm all about, baby. Do you mind if I take a quick look? Seems like a strange thing to carry and not know anything about. His voice is polished and clean. Friendly, but intent. Go ahead. Sure. My thanks. Though it's not often the wisest choice to let strangers enter your mind, I'll not do you any harm. Might help, even. He smiles to take the sting out of his words. Ready? He breathes in, and suddenly you feel you are a mote tucked inside a gigantic prism, with eyes peering in at you from all around, and you are held tightly in an enormous fist. You are a flimsy piece of glass held up to the light. Yet somehow it is not utterly terrifying. His words come to you as if from a distance. A shared space, such depth, such twists. It builds itself around your experiences, around those who share it with you. Shared spaces are occasionally dangerous, so I sharpened a part of your mind. His voice draws closer and the pressure eases. I didn't probe it deeply, but this would be an excellent battleground. If you lure the foe to you, you could trap it within your mind. Could destroy it. Oh, introductions, yes. I just gained another point of permanent intel. That's the second point of permanent intellect I've gained since I walked into this bar. My int pool is so high now. He sets the glass down and shakes your hand. I am Dama of the Bloom. He pinches the bridge of his nose, his eyes tightly shut, and you feel a gentle and powerful presence surround your consciousness. I have a request for you. It might seem strange, but you have an interesting topography to your mind. You might be able to help us. The Fifth Eye is home to psychic veterans. We fought an incursion of nightmares, I suppose. Nightmares slithering into the city's shared dream space, eating minds and leaving husks behind. We called them the adversaries. We burned them out and cauterized the wounds through which they infected our reality. But I can't shake the nagging feeling that one of them survived and waits to strike. Yeah, he's literally standing right over there. I trust my intuition, and now it's telling me to ask for your help. I'd be happy to help. What do I need to do?
Making a note.
New quest received. He breathes a sigh of relief. My thanks. I feel the adversary. I know it's here. I know it's close. It's watching us, but it's hiding its presence. And I fear it will strike when our guard is down. May well be in the Fifth Eye even now. He shrugs helplessly. Sadly, our Fifth Eye is blind. He jerks a thumb at the bartender. It might be that our foe has blinded us, but it might not have shielded itself from you. Look for it and tell me if you find something unusual. Clarion seems to hold you in high regard. She thinks you'd be a valuable ally in the endless battle.
Making a note.
I've got more pressing matters closer to home. The adversary, remember? I'm not going anywhere until we've dealt with that nightmare.
Can I convince you to join her?
You can't. Not until we've dealt with the problem here. The adversary is here. I know it. I feel it.
If you guess wrong, you get 2 XP, so all that detective work was worth 2 XP, the same as just looking at things. Worth it. Worth it. All day. All day, worth it. That's all for now. Farewell.
A pleasure.
Alright, hold on. Eyes of the Adversary. A potentially dangerous entity may be lurking in the Fifth Eye Tavern. Dama of the Bloom called this entity an adversary, a mind-eater. These malign beings were defeated in a psychic war by Dama and his friends, but he believes that a single adversary survived. He asked me to help him find and confront his old enemy. Search the Fifth Eye for signs of the adversary's presence. Dama thinks that the adversary is somewhere close, watching him and his friends. That means it's somewhere in the Fifth Eye, but it must be concealing itself from them. If I encounter anything suspicious, I should tell Dama at once. Sayobi made it clear that she's tired of war and refuses to fight in the endless battle. Dama won't consider leaving the Fifth Eye until the last adversary has been defeated. Okay. So at this point, I have lots to talk to Dama about still. And fucking malaise. Obviously this is the adversary. You draw close to me, but you do not yet know the words of desire. I can't just straight up ask him, hey, are you an adversary? I don't think he's going to tell me anything new here. Yeah, same stuff as before. Okay, so we're gonna finish talking to Dama about all of his stuff.
You and me.
But that is gonna have to be next time in our next episode, because that's gonna do it for this one. So, thank you for watching. This has been Josiah Plays Torment, Tides of Numenera.